Hello and welcome to the Lichen Kit Review. So we are going to be diving into what Lichen does, who her best teammates are, and what other little neat tidbits there are about her. So first up is her normal attack, where she will not be attacking, but she will apply burn marks onto enemies within her skill range, and that skill range is basically a plus shape around her. So the burn mark will actually deal damage on behalf of Lichen, and it does 100% of the damage as magic damage, and it burns the enemy for 2 seconds. Next up is her ultimate, where she can use only after she has reached 60 spirituality. So it releases her from her chains and becomes unfettered for 12 seconds. And during these 12 seconds, she will increase the skill damage taken of all enemies within the 3x3 area of her by 30%. So you'll be able to see that there is a skill effect for the skill range in game later on. So next up is her passive one. During her fettered stage, which is basically when she's still collecting spirituality or when you haven't activated her out, she will grant sinners a shield based on her own magic resistance after they have inflicted a burn mark. So sinners such as Yao, Thistle, and Hestia are able to inflict burn marks naturally, whereas sinners such as Yan Yan can only inflict burn mark using her ECB, so she won't be able to get the shield unless you throw out her ECB during Lichen's fettered state. So while in unfettered state, which is when she has activated her out, when sinners apply burn marks, Lichen will grant the sinner a stack of Fire Rune. So Fire Rune is basically a mark that will increase the skill damage by a percentage. For me, it's 10% at level 10 for 8 seconds and can stack up to 5 times. So that's basically 50% skill damage increase, which is a lot actually. For passive 2, you have when Lichen enters unfettered state. So after she uses her out, Lichen will gain a stack of Imperial Bell. So this bell is a special mark that will last only until after Lichen exits the unfettered state, which means after the 12 seconds, if you still have unconsumed Imperial Bell marks, Lichen will just dispose of them. So you cannot stack your outs and give her more marks for the end of the fight where you can just spam it out with Yao. So what this mark does is it can prevent death, or when she's consumed, she'll also, well, not die. And after the mark is consumed, Lichen will recover some HP and deal some damage to all enemies within skill range. So this is basically what makes her Yao's favorite snack. And basically the cool thing about Lichen's unfettered state is that her base magic resistance and her base attack values are swapped. So you can see here that her base attack at level 90 is 495, whereas her base magic resistance is at 814. And basically what happens is when you enter unfettered state, after you cast your out, the value of this magic resistance and attack will swap, which makes it so that Lichen's theoretical attack during her unfettered state is one of the highest in game and allows Yao to actually deal more damage because Yao consumes the base attack of the ally that she eats. So this basically makes Lichen a worthy food source without compromising on Yao's damage. So for Lichen's characteristic, she gains spirituality when sinners apply burn marks. A burn on enemy units, and basically when she reaches 60 spirituality, she is able to cast her out and enter unfettered state. So when you are not at 60 spirituality, you basically cannot enter unfettered state. So the thing about unfettered state is that once you enter it, you have to wait for the full 12 seconds before you can actually leave it. And during this time, she's unable to gain spirituality at all. So no matter what burn marks that you apply onto the enemies, you are not able to help her regen her spirituality until she has left her unfettered state. So for her mania intensify, when Lichen is in fettered state, her magic resistance is increased by 10, and when in unfettered state, attack is increased by 5%. This actually doesn't do anything for Yao because she only consumes the base uh, attack of the sinner. So even if the values of it changes due to something like uh, crime bans, it doesn't change the fact about the base value that Yao actually consumes. And so basically, when Yi Cheng enters fettered state, she'll just deal a bit more burn damage towards the enemies based on her own normal attacks. That's about it. So for skill priority, you want to upgrade skill 2, which is the out, passive 1, passive 2, and then normal attacks. Next up are her shackles. For her shackle 1, when Li Chen enters unfettered state, so after she casts her out, she will increase all allied sinners damage by 20% for 12 seconds. So this 12 seconds is actually also the duration of her unfettered state, which is, yeah, basically it lasts, you get both buffs together for that period of time. 20% is a okay increase, and there are also many other sources of this damage dealt increase component, so it's not really a key shackle to aim for. For shackles 2 and 5, magic resistance is increased by 10%. This does nothing for Yao's attack increase after she eats Lichen, which is quite, not to say useless, but it's quite redundant. But basically this only increases the amount of shield that you can get from Lichen's passive 1. So for her shackle 3, the effects of Fire Rune, which is the skill damage increase, are enhanced by 50%. So for one stack, instead of 10%, you actually get 15% now, and they last 4 seconds longer. So basically at max stacks, instead of 50% skill damage increase, I'll have 75% skill damage increase, and for 12 seconds. At Shackle 4, the damage coefficient of burn marks inflicted by other allied sinners are increased to 1.5 times. So it's a 1.5 times of the base damage, which means, for example, Li Chen, if her burn mark is 100% of her magic damage for 2 seconds, she will now deal burn marks that is 150% of her attack. And for sinners like Yao, where her burn mark is 120% of her attack, it will now be increased to 240, not 200, 180%. Yep, so that's for Li Chen's kit. And for her crime band, depending on the ECB level, ECB 3 will have 60 spirituality at the start of the battle, and ECB 1 has 30 spirituality. So this basically is the higher the ECB level you unlock, the faster you can cast your out at the start of the battle. So this is mostly just for speed running in a DZ context. So the other cool thing is that at ECB 1 and above, you basically gain an additional stack of Imperial Bell, which means you get to eat Li Cheng twice within a out. Yep. Okay, now the thing about Shackle 4 is that if you have Reforged Yao, you realize that there is a node that changes her out and ECB's damage to burn damage. Now, this burn damage is actually just a damage type, whereas the actual Shackle 4 that Li Chen buffs is the burn marks damage, which is only applied by Yao's enhanced normal attack or her enhanced normal attack. Yeah. So what this means is that it actually, even if you reforge Yao, this change in burn damage will not be affected by Lichen's Shackle 4, but sinners like Hestia, who would actually consume or detonate these burn marks, would actually benefit more from it because they basically get to scale more. Yeah. So Lichen Shackle 4 is only purely if you enjoy playing Hestia or Yan Yan together with Lichen, and that S4 will actually increase the damage of the detonations that they do. But this doesn't mean that you cannot play Shackle 4 Lichen with Yao, because it will still be enhancing the burn mark, but these detonators for the burn marks will actually just be buffed more because of the extra damage that they get from the burn mark itself. Yeah, so that is basically Lichen. And to see how she works, so you have Lichen over here, and her crime bands, you would typically run Murky Cave, Oasis, and Rift Palace, or if you have it, you can also run Final Path, which would just increase the magic damage of the sinner who most recently moved. So spirituality, you can see, is basically a white circle, like all immortal sinnoh. There's a white circle at the side, except for Li Chen, she won't auto convert, she won't be auto corrupted, where but you have to cast her out in order to be able to change her from unfettered to fettered state. So once you enter fettered state, you can see that there is two bells around her, below her HP bar, and the white circle just now changed to a glowing yellow circle, which means that she entered unfettered state. So if you use Yao to eat her at this point, you can see that she consumes one stack of Imperial Bell, and basically the passive 2 has taken effect, and Yao would just be able to not kill Li Chen. So if you wait for the unfettered state to end, you can see that I ate Li Chen once, so she would only gain one bell. She will only lose one bell, and because she also technically lost the bell mark, she gained back another 60% HP. So after that, you can see that the red glowing circle at the side of her health bar has changed to this dull black circle, and per each burn mark application, there will be this white line that slowly creeps around her, that will continue to fail until it reaches 60 spirituality again. So during this state, hang on, you're actually unable to cast her out because she has not yet reached 60 spirituality. So another thing that you're noticing is that Li Chen actually also gains her own passive 1 benefits. So during unfettered state, she's able to shield herself, and during fettered state, she's also able to gain the skill damage bonus, which is also going to help with scaling the damage of the burn mark that she applies. So this is the burn mark that you're looking for. That is the one that is being buffed by her Shackle 4, and yeah, that's it for Li Chen. Thank you.